Here on Rockfeed last year at Aftershock, we first told you that John 5 wasn't on stage with Rob Zombie during his performance at that festival. This spawned a lot of rumors about his status in the band, and then we eventually would find out that he had joined Motley Crue, where he remains today. Whatever you think about the way that Mick Mars left the band or whatever, I don't think anybody's questioning John 5's unbelievable talent and qualifications to be in the band, and he's really one of the most well-liked and well-respected guitarists in the game, without question. So now we have this great new conversation that he appeared on Eddie Trunk on Sirius XM, and he talked about all kinds of stuff, joining Motley Crue, and also now for the first time, what Rob Zombie's reaction was when he told him that he was leaving the band and joining Motley Crue. Stick around. If you could take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button for the latest news and updates about your favorite bands, I would appreciate it. John 5 appeared on Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk, and they had an in-depth conversation about his career, how he joined Motley Crue, what Mick Mars' response was to him joining Motley Crue, and what Rob Zombie's response was to him stepping down from the band. I've linked to the full conversation in the description, but this is what John 5 had to say Rob Zombie's reaction was when he told him he was no longer joining the band. John 5 characterized Rob Zombie's reaction as him not being psyched, but understanding when he told him that he was joining Motley Crue, but he also says they haven't spoken since. He told Eddie Trunk, "I talked to Rob and he understood. Rob is a smart, rational person. I mean, he wasn't psyched, but he understood. And I think that was amazing of him. And he was just like, go get him. He was fine about it. And then he got Riggs, who I think is a great addition. That's who he was using when Rob did the early solo records. And I think it's a great addition, and they're kicking ass." John 5 said he agreed to join Motley Crue in a conversation with Nikki Sixx and hadn't told Rob Zombie yet, so he wanted to tell him before it got out in the press. He said, "I told Rob before it got out in the press, but I agreed to Nikki. And I called Rob and I said, this is what's happening. And we did a show, Louder Than Life, together, and that was my last show with Rob in Kentucky. And then they got Riggs, and we're rehearsing with him and did the Aftershock show. And then it was announced. My time frame is not great, but then I believe it was announced a little bit after that, but it was no bad blood or anything. It wasn't anything bad. It wasn't dramatic or anything. And Rob was super cool. He was like, hey, I get it. He was cool about it." John 5 said he hadn't spoken to Rob Zombie since that conversation. He said, "To be honest, I haven't, and I miss talking with him and texting with him. I'm more worried about him not texting me back or not replying. I think that would really break my heart. That's the thing. I think I'd be bummed out about that. But I haven't. To answer your question, no, I haven't." Now, there's also this contentious lawsuit with Mick Mars suing Motley Crue, but that really has nothing to do with John 5. He was offered a great opportunity and took it. And even more so, he says actually Mick Mars gave him words of support and encouragement when he joined that role, which I think is really cool. He said, "I went to do some John 5 and the Creatures shows, my instrumental thing, and Motley was finished. They were off tour and I was still doing some shows, and Nikki called and said, listen, Mick is going to retire, and we have these obligations from Live Nation. We have South America booked, we have Europe booked. Do you want to come on board?" He said, "Absolutely. It's just like your brother asking you or something like that. Now the hard part was telling Rob. We never had a negative word between us. He's my buddy, and we made great music and great live shows together. For 17 years, we really never had a problem. I was thinking to myself, life is short, and if I'm being completely honest with you, Eddie, life is short. I want to experience as much life as I can. I was thinking about myself. I was like, I want to do this for me. I was 51 years old at the time. How many times do you get a new chapter in your life of this magnitude later in life?" He goes on to speak of Mick Mars' reaction. "Me and Mick, we talk all the time. We exchange Christmas gifts and things like that." He said, "When I was announced as the guitar player, he was one of the very first texts that I got. And he said, you're going to kill it. It's good. It's not like it's some stranger coming in. We have a great respect for each other." Look, it's not a perfect situation with Motley Crue. I think even the members of Motley Crue would agree with that. But if you're going to bring somebody in, you got to bring in a guy like John 5, who's just an absolute monster on the guitar, universally well-liked by everybody, just such a great guitarist. And again, you can hear that full conversation on Eddie Trunk. Trunk Nation does a very great job over there, and you can listen to that full conversation at the link in the description. That's your latest update from Rockfeed. Be sure to subscribe for the latest news and updates about your favorite musicians.